Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. InfoSec Pat here. So what I want to go over today is some Microsoft certifications. These are some of the ones that I've taken in the month of June in 2025. So we're going to be going over the SC300, the AZ500, and the SC100. So if you're trying to get into the world of cybersecurity or cloud security, or just want to brush up some knowledge on Microsoft Azure or the cloud, this is the right spot to be. I want to walk you through my successes in the last couple months on how I did it. So what we're going to go over today is some of the study materials that I've used, some tricks and tips that got me to where I am, and just how I was able to accomplish 4 certifications from Microsoft in less than a month. So yeah. So here is the first one that we're going to go over, right? So we have the SC300. So the SC300 is the Microsoft Identity and Access Administrator Associate. There is an associate level, there's the fundamental or foundation level, and then there's the associate, and then there's expert. So the certifications that I've taken in June are all, or actually 3 of them were the associate level, and then I have 1 expert level, which is Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect, which is the SC100 exam. But we're not there yet. So what do we have to focus on this certification right here? All right, at a glance, it's an intermediate certification. The product is Azure. And what you can do with this, or what role you can have, is a security engineer. Let's make this a little bigger. The subject is security, and you have to renew it every 12 months, which I'm not a big fan of that, right? I think 3 years should be key, but the way Microsoft changes the way they update everything, obviously every year is what they want, right? So the last time this exam was updated was 7/30, so it's almost a year ago that this exam has been revised, right? So what do I do, right? Before I tell you what I do, what I did for this certification, I want to talk about some key areas to know for the exam. And obviously I took my notes, I jotted them down for my studies and for this video. So Azure Active Directory, which is also known as Intra ID. So if you can see here, let's see if they show that. So what I did is focus on Intra ID, identity governance, authentication and access management, and confidential access, MFA, and single sign-on, SSO, right? So if you're trying to be like an IAM professional, if you're looking to be an Azure admin, or any kind of security person in the ecosystem of Microsoft, this is for you, right? So how I did it, I want to zoom out a little bit. So I didn't do the whole course. I don't know. For me, I think that's a time waster. Only you know your skills, right? If you're working with this technology, if you're familiar with the technology, you can test your own ability. So what I do, or what I did, because I already did it, I came down and I said, okay, let's take a practice assessment. Let's open up this. So I took this practice assessment, and you have to log in. I'm not going to log in right now. And then it's a 50-question assessment on this technology. So like it says, practice assessments provide you with an overview of style, wording, and difficulty of the question you're likely to experience on your exam. Through these assessments, you're able to assess your readiness, just make sure you're all good to go. Fill in the gaps, bring you one step closer to the likelihood of passing the exam. So I took the exam, or I took the practice exam. If I scored 80%, I just took the exam. I just scheduled like right when I was done, I went on to Pearson VUE, scheduled the exam, so it's still fresh in my head, right? That's the way I tackle these exams. So I don't, and if I do get a 75, it's going to show me where I needed some help or needed more practice, and it'll guide you right to that module. Then I will check out that module, right? So that's the way I prepared. I didn't watch videos. I didn't really go on. I want to talk about different resources because, obviously not everyone studies like me, right? So I'm familiar with the Microsoft ecosystem. I think I shared it in my other video. I've taken, I think, over 40 Microsoft certifications in my career, right? So Microsoft, I think the older exams were a lot harder because now they pretty much straight to the point. Like, either you know it or you don't. So that's the way I go into these exams, right? And you only know what you know, not me, right? So when I feel like I'm ready, I just go take the exam and wish for the best, right? I got to say, on all of my exams, I scored high 800s, right? So it's not like I got 751. So just make sure you're ready. Pass with these practice exams 80% and you should be good. Literally, if you get 80% or more, you can ace the exam. Trust me, I did it. So if you want to experience a demo, you can launch a sandbox, right? And then if you want to watch any videos, I didn't do this, but you can do it. And then you can take the exam. You'll have 100 minutes to complete the assessment. So go ahead and just test yourself out, right? And then once you come down, right, assess on the exam. I think I said this, or maybe not. I put Azure AD, identity governance, and authentication and access management. So implement and manage user identities. So understanding like privileged access management and all the stuff that you need to know for identity. Implement authentication and access management, plan and implement workload identities, and then identity governance, right? And then it's about $165 for your exam, and you just schedule the exam. It brings you to Pearson VUE, and then you go on with your merry way. So that's pretty much the overall of the preparation, right? So that's that one. And this is the AZ500. So the AZ500 is the Microsoft Certified Azure Security Engineer Associate. So this one deals a little different things. Obviously, it's identity and access, intra-ID. You have intra-ID across the board, right? Platform protection, which is network security and firewalls. Security operations, monitor and threat detections. Data and application security. This is all the touch points that I jotted down for the exam. And then if you're looking at, the job roles that you can get is obviously Azure Security Engineer, Security Ops. Pen test is dealing with Azure. So this is the reason why, I want to pen test the cloud. I want to be using Pwn Labs and using other things, but remember, this is strictly for the Microsoft certifications. And so pretty much the same thing. The preparation is identical for every single one that I do, right? So your responsibilities for a security engineer or Azure Security Engineer is managing the security posture, implementing threat protections, identifying and remediating vulnerabilities. This is pretty much the main honcho here, right? And the same thing, I just went down, did my practice test, seen where I was at, and if I was garbage at one area, you just do it. So you can train, training in this course. Why is my mouse going bananas? So then you see secure identity and access, securing networks, secure compute storage and databases. I did get a lot of stuff with secure compute and storage. I did get quite a few questions about that, probably at least like 15, I think. So this was a big one. And secure Azure using Microsoft Defender for Cloud and Microsoft Sentinel. So this overlaps with the SC200 exam. The SC200 is more focused on MDE, Microsoft Sentinel, and all that stuff. So pretty much the same identical thing. Take your test. If you score an 80%, you're good to go. Go schedule your exam. And I want to know, once you pass or whatever strategy you have, please throw it in the comments, because I want to learn how other people study, right? People have been asking me how I did it, and this is how I did it, right? I'm not you, you're not me, we're all different. So I love to hear the style that you used. Okay? So, and the last one here is the SC100, which is the Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect. This is an expert level exam. This was not easy, right? This was not an easy exam, especially for me. I'm pretty new to the cloud Microsoft Azure security ecosystem, right? I'm not an expert, meaning like I've been doing it for 100 years. I've been doing it probably for 4 years now, 3.5 years, touching the cloud, getting more involved with it. But maybe the last 1.5 years, I've been more ingrained into it. So that's why, and then now I'm just leveling up my skills and trying to be more valuable to the ecosystem of Microsoft. So that's why I went to get these certifications. All right, so this is the SC100 Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect, which is the expert level. So what do you want to focus on here? You want to focus on designing and evaluating security strategies. So now you're the head honcho. You're designing the whole solution, right? Zero trust strategies, security operations strategies, compliance and governance, hybrid and multi-cloud security. I remember I got questions on here about different like GCP, AWS, and just integrating different clouds. So this is pretty much the roles and the targets or the audience that's for this certifications. If you want to be a senior security professional, architects, whatever, anyone in the expert level. But I want to put some cherries on top, right? If you're an expert in anything, don't expect to know it all. That's something that's pretty much out there. Oh, I'm a CCIE, or I'm an expert. I have this expert title in the certification. But I want to talk about one thing for a second. The thing about Microsoft certifications, right? If you're in the ecosystem of security.microsoft.com or intune.microsoft.com, whatever, portal.azure, whatever, right? Microsoft changes where they have their clicks. If you have to click here, click there, and sometimes you have to click 10 times to get one place, right? The certifications do not teach you how to click, where to click. They give you a scenario-based question, and either you know it or you don't. They're not going to say you have to go configure something. You have to go configure an ASR rule or an AV policy or deploy your endpoint onto this and then put it into a group or whatever you're doing. It doesn't walk you through that, right? So that's where the hands-on experience doing at work or sandbox, or we'll get to different resources in a minute. So I just want to emphasize that, right? Don't expect just because you pass a certification, you're going to know where every click is, because Microsoft can change that click today as we speak, right? Just want to put that out there. Thank you. So now the good stuff, right? That's pretty much the same thing. This one didn't really have much. So, okay, one more thing about the SC100. So in order to, you can't just go take this exam and get the expert. You have to have one of the following. Let me show you that. There was, let me see. I think you have to have one of the following certifications in order for you to get this. And let me go just out to Google, how to get SC100 cert or the requirements. So there is, right here. So to obtain the Microsoft Certified Security Architect, you must pass, the SC100, obviously, and then one of the prerequisites of the associate level, right? You need to do an AZ500, SC200, or SC300. Obviously, I did them all, so I have all of those and plus this one. So I think I am prepared for Microsoft for at least a year. So yeah, that's that, okay? All right, so now I want to talk about how to prepare for each exam if you're looking to do this not my way, right? Because I wanted to put out a blueprint on how you can do it, right? Obviously, you can visit the sites. You can study On each, you can go on the course. It's self-paced. You can do it. It's all for free, right? And then what I did was you can download the skills outline PDF for each exam and then highlight your weak areas. That's pretty much what I did when I took the assessment exam, and then I focused on that. And then if I was shit at something, I would focus and study for whatever the hour, or do the module that I was pretty bad at. Okay, so that's pretty much a critical step. I would just make sure you download, make sure you understand the exam objectives, and you should be good. All right, so the next thing, just use the Microsoft Learn. It's all free. It's all free. This is all free, right? 100% free, interactive learning paths. You can get hands-on experience with their sandbox environments. And then it's great for building your fundamental knowledge, right? Say, for example, you don't even want to take these certifications, you just want to learn the knowledge. So when you get on an interview, you can say, okay, yeah, I've configured XYZ. This is how I did it. I went to this, I went to that, and whatever. And then a little tip that I like to do for myself is bookmark any modules specifically for your weakness, right? Like if I was weak in something, I would bookmark it, and I would make sure, even you can check into the exam, I think a half hour before. Say, for example, your exam is at 8 o'clock. You can check in at 7:45, but I would wake up at like 7 or 6:30, because I did all my exams early in the morning, 7:45 in the morning. Because I start work and I want to make sure I get it out of the way. So, and I like to wake up early anyway. So anyhow, all my exams I did really, really early. So I wake up about an hour before, brush up on all my weaknesses if there is any, and then obviously you can't bring anything into, it's on an open book exam. I was getting that question a lot. Are they open book? No, it's proctored, and you have to have nothing in your room. I couldn't do it in this room. I did it in a room that I just had a desk and my laptop. So, and they, even if I have my watch on, I actually got yelled at by the proctor, because I forgot to take my watch off. And when I do my exams, even if you watch me on live streams, if I'm listening or if I'm concentrating, I end up having an itch or niche or whatever the fuck it is. I twist my beard. So I was like this on the camera, and then the proctor yelled at me hey, get your watch off. I'm like, oh shit. I didn't even realize I had my watch. But anyhow, so don't have anything on your desk, anything that's my little TED talk. But anyhow, leverage the free Microsoft resources. And then if you want to invest in yourself, and you're not working in Microsoft today or Microsoft ecosystem, and you want to get further knowledge, you can pay for paid courses. You have the SC 300 and AZ 500, and there's free resources. And let's go here. Let's just go to youtube.com. And this is a guy I found, John Salvas. I believe that's it. Hopefully I remembered that correctly. Yeah. So this guy has some Azure training. So you can definitely check this out as well. He's good. I didn't. I was just Googling some trainers that did this just for this video, just in case you guys want to brush up on other things. You can use Udemy courses and all that stuff. So, and there is a site called, I found it, I think it was Wise Labs, I believe. Yeah. Yep. So this site was another one that I found for platforms, and you get hands-on cloud sandboxes and all this good stuff. So that's another one. And you can get, obviously we're talking about Azure, so you can start an Azure sandbox and you can go from there, right? All right, so that was that. And the SC300, obviously, just Microsoft Learn, that's all I used. And because at that level, you should have hands-on, you should know what you're talking about, at least to an extent to have a conversation. Like I said, if you're an expert at it, don't expect to be an expert tomorrow, because things change, right? You always have to, brush up every day. And what else do I have? Practice labs. You can have a free Microsoft account, $200 credit for 30 days. You can build out your AD tenant, your conditional access policies, your Defender for Cloud settings. You can get that hands-on instead of just understanding the theory. So I think that's always a good thing. But not everyone, like myself, don't like to give credit cards to anyone. So I don't have a free Microsoft account because I don't give them my credit card. I have the luxury of working with it on a daily basis. So I have access, to it at my job. Okay, so practice exam questions. You have the example questions like I showed you. You can use third-party practice questions as well. Measure up exam topics for community review questions. And I guess some bonus tips that I put here. Obviously, you can join study groups. This is big, right? You can join Discord servers, just see who else is studying for the same certification, jump into a group. Depending on how you study, right? Like hands-on certifications, I like to study in groups because then we can collaborate. When it's just multiple choice and drag and drops and scenario-based questions, I like to do this by myself. It's hard for me to study with other people, but everyone's different. You can get some hands-on, is always better than memorizing, right? Especially for the AZ 500, SC200. Practical experience is key. Use flashcards. Obviously, that's not something I do. I don't like flashcards. I've never been into flashcards, but that's all to you. And the last thing I want to say here is don't neglect the basics, right? Even like the SC100, expect scenario-based questions that rely on the core of Azure and security fundamentals, right? Please, if you're looking to get at that level, that's something that you sure don't want to neglect. And that's pretty much it that I want to talk about today. So if you found this useful, please let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel like I always say. Leave a comment below. Let me know which exam you're preparing for. And if you pass any of these, and as always, leave a useful link of what you did, how you studied, and all that good stuff. And keep learning, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.